Hey, Suffield, Connecticut homeowners, let me cut right to the chase. A lot of people are asking, is the housing market going to crash? But if you're a homeowner in Suffield, Connecticut today, the reality looks very different. Today, I'm breaking down exactly what's happening in our local market, why we're not seeing signs of a crash, and what that means to you if you're thinking of selling. Let's talk facts, let's talk local, and let's talk strategy. In this month's Suffield, Connecticut Housing Market Update, I'm Stephanie Salerno, your local realtor expert and lead of the Stephanie Salerno team at Coldwell Realty. If you want to stay ahead of the market and make smart real estate moves, be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking that button below. So first, let's dive into what's been happening in Suffield. So for Suffield, in April, 9 homes were sold, and that's up 50% from April of 2024. 8 new listings came on the market, and that's actually down 27% from last year. The sales price to list price ratio was 100.8%, and that's down about 2%. And the average sale price per square foot was $237, and that's actually up 9% from April of 2024. April's average sale price was $621,000, and that's up 55% from 2024. And the average days on market was 53, and that's up 36% from 2024. Okay, so we all see the crazy national headlines, but let's not forget that real estate is local. So let's take a moment to quickly talk about how Suffield is trending against all the national data. Okay, so let's start with inventory. When you look at this chart, you can see that here in Suffield, we are not following the national trend. Nationally, inventory has been climbing, but here in our local market, it remains incredibly low. Why? Well, some other markets were overbuilt with new construction or have had other local impacts that affected the market. But locally, well, the millennials hit their peak buying age, and the baby boomers, which is another huge population group, are aging in place because there's limited options for a downsize. And we've also been seeing this lock-in effect where people refinance at a 2 or 3% rate, and while they hate their house, they love their rate, and they're not ready to make any moves. Now, compound that locally with the fact that new construction just has not kept up in our area, and there's a lack of affordable options. We literally have more buyers than we have houses to sell them. And sure, we see some improvements here and there in inventory and depending upon the price range. And we're certainly seeing an increase in inventory nationally, but that's not enough to make an impact, which we will talk about in a moment. In April of 2024, we had 22 homes for sale in Suffield. That climbed in the high 30s through the summer, but we're back down again. And we're down to just 21 listings in April of 2025. That's half of what we had at our peak last year. So while national headlines say inventory is increasing, in our market, we're still tight, and that creates opportunity for all you sellers out there. Next, let's look at how fast homes are selling. In May of last year, homes were flying off the market. Median days on market was just 15. By January, that jumped to 54 days. And now in April, we're back down to just 32 days. So yes, we're seeing some seasonal trends for sure, and the economists all said that we'd see the return to seasonality, and that did happen. But make no mistake, homes that are priced right are still selling quickly, oftentimes in their first weekend on the market, especially here in Suffield. And if you really want to understand seller advantage, take a look at this chart. It shows months of inventory, or how long it would take to sell available homes at the current pace. In a balanced market, we'd be closer to 5 to 6 months. Right now, we're just at 1.4 months in Suffield. That's still a strong seller's market. And when you zoom out, we've barely touched 2 months, even at the peak of last summer. Bottom line, if you're thinking about selling, you're still in a favorable position. There's not enough inventory locally to meet buyer demand, and we stand firm very much in a seller's market. Now, I want to shift gears and answer the question that's on everybody's mind, and that is the housing market going to crash? Let's break down the fear versus the facts. A recent survey found that 70% of Americans are concerned about a potential housing market crash in 2025. And understandably, we're seeing really scary headlines, a lot of market noise, and people are wondering if prices are going to tank. But here's what the economists, the people who study housing data for a living, are saying. Business Insider said, though many Americans believe the housing market is at risk of crashing, economists who study the housing market conditions generally do not expect a crash in 2025 or beyond unless the economic outlook changes. Why? Well, because housing comes down to simple supply and demand. Chief economist Mark Fleming puts it plainly. There's just generally not enough supply. There are more people than housing inventory. It's Econ 101. So yes, we've seen national inventory grow, up over 30% compared to last year. But we're still 16% below pre-2020 levels. And in Suffield, we're even tighter than that. So is inventory improving nationally? Yes. but it's still low enough that we won't see a major price correction, and certainly they're not predicting that will cause a crash. Lawrence Oon, chief economist at NAR, said it best. Home price growth will moderate due to more supply coming into the market. Having income and wages rise faster than home prices are welcome to improve affordability. And this chart shows exactly that. Price growth has slowed from 7% in early of 2024 to about 3.9 now. Still growth, just more balanced and more sustainable. And Freddie Mac agrees. We expect the pace of housing price appreciation to moderate from the level seen in 2024, while we're still maintaining a positive trajectory. So I'll close here with another quote from Lawrence Oon. There's just simply not enough supply. So the economics of supply and demand, if there's a shortage, prices simply cannot crash. So if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're unsure if right now is the right time to make a move, here's the truth. And while I don't have a crystal ball and can't predict the future, I can present you with the facts and the data that the economists are presenting to us. And the data doesn't lie. Inventory in Suffield is still low, and houses are still selling very quickly, and prices are holding strong. So those crash headlines, well, they don't represent our local reality. So if you're curious for what your home could sell for today, or you want to strategize for later in the year, let's connect. I am always happy to walk you through the numbers. Or if you're just curious what your home might be worth today, click that button below for an instant estimate of home value. And help me out, please be sure to like this video, subscribe for future Suffield market updates, or drop your comments and questions in the comments below. All right, this is Stephanie Salerno with the Stephanie Salerno team at Coldwell Realty, and this has been your May Suffield, Connecticut housing market update. We'll see you next month.